Hello, hello. Hi, gang. Hi, everybody. I feel like we are spot on the news with today's poll question. And I don't always say that, but we've had a good run. Keeping in mind that usually I determine the night before what will be the poll question. And the news gods were smiling on me with regard to the Friday poll question for reasons I'll explain in just a moment. Get to it, Michael. What's the poll question? The poll question is this: should the U.S. military conduct lethal strikes against suspected drug traffickers in international waters without a formal declaration of war? That is the Friday poll question today. Let me thank my friends at Parks Casino. I'm sure I'm not the only one who stayed up late last night. Dallas visiting the birds, the raising of the banner, and at about 10:30 Eastern time, I had like a real dilemma on my hands because all of a sudden they took a break for the storm and a concern about lightning. What a great game! What a great game! And Philly edged out Big D. I thought Big D looked pretty good. I thought that Dak Prescott looked good. And this game is going to now be known as Spitgate. It's unbelievable in terms of now people scrutinizing the video of Prescott and did he precipitate what can watch it, watch the video. The point is this: pro and college football are back. You can live bet and watch all the action. BetParks is the only sportsbook app that I ever use and recommend. The team at BetParks online sportsbook and casino, they've got a great offer for new users. Download the app, open an account, get up to $50 back on your first sports bet if it doesn't win. Plus, you're going to get a BetParks bonus box with 50 BetParks coins and 50 bonus spins on the BetParks Collect 'em online slot game so that you can bet pro and college football. Tonight's the Brazil game. Kansas City and San Diego. Looking forward to that already. But you can, do everything. Pro golf, Saturday morning soccer, MMA, and more. Bet more than the score. Bet player touchdowns, rushing and passing. I'm just thinking of something else. I'm looking forward to Aaron Rodgers being in, I'll say, North Jersey this weekend against New York. It's going to be really, really exciting. Bottom line, you got to be 21 and located in PA or NJ. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So the Thursday poll result, thank you for the 33,442 who took the time to cast a ballot at Smerconish.com. Will two more Republicans join Representatives Massey, Mace, Boebert, and Green in supporting the Democrats to release the DOJ Epstein-Maxwell investigation files? And 61.73% said yes. Yesterday, I too would have said yes. In fact, I voted yes. But now I'm not so sure. Remember, the discharge petition, I take it that you already are dialed in on this and have some fundamental understanding of what I'm talking about relative to Epstein. As of Wednesday afternoon, they had 206 signatures. They need 218. And all you need to really keep in mind is they need two more Republicans because they already have Massey and they have Mace and Boebert and Green. A really strange bedfellow kind of thing in terms of this. Well, there's a competing track. These two tracks of investigation relative to Epstein. One is what Massey is seeking to do with Ro Khanna, and the other is the House oversight, which has been blessed by Speaker Johnson. Why isn't the latter enough? Because Massey and Khanna and Mace and Boebert and Green, they say, we've already seen the documents they're releasing, and they're sanitizing the Epstein record. So they had that press conference 2 days ago where you had 10 Epstein victims on the floor, at the foot of the steps of the Capitol, providing very emotional testimony. And I thought this is going to break the logjam. Surely they'll get two more Republicans who will sign on to this. The White House has let it be known that this is really going to be regarded as crossing a line with President Trump. I mean, they have let it be known that this is serious business if you join the cabal. I'm using, figurative language. That want to go outside the House oversight route and partner with the Democrats. So what's to come now? There's a good CNN piece, and it notes that the petition the Ro Khanna Massey petition appears to have lost a bit of momentum. Multiple House Republicans who were initially supportive of Massey's legislation said this week they won't sign the petition, citing the release of the 30,000 documents from the Oversight Committee. Johnson and the White House have also urged Republicans to not sign the petition. Yeah, here's the quote that I was looking for. Sources from the White House saying that this will be viewed as a very hostile act to the administration. And then secondarily, now because momentum seems to have slowed, they are saying even if it gets out of the House, discharge petition, vote on the floor of the House, now goes to the Senate. There's no guarantee that it's going to get a vote in the Senate. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune said yesterday he didn't think that the Senate needs to pass that legislation. So I'm dubious now as to whether it's going to happen. Friday poll question. This is the one for which I said the news gods have smiled on me, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Should the U.S. military conduct lethal strikes against suspected drug dealers in international waters without a formal declaration of war? Yesterday, so fortunate to have Admiral James Stavridis on the program. 37-year naval career, retired as a 4-star admiral, and was the Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, the 16th. You know who the first was, right? Good trivia. Who was the first? I've mentioned this before. This should be a layup. Who was the first Supreme Allied Commander of NATO? Come on, who is it? Who is it? I'm looking for somebody. Anybody? Somebody who's watching live on YouTube? Oh my goodness. I always take for granted that these political questions like this. Who, what? Okay, Nancy Lawrence. Thank you, Nancy. Wow. Woo! Now I can get back to business. So Admiral Stavridis was on the program yesterday, and he raised several interesting points, including, if the boat, I don't think we even know the precise location, but if the quote-unquote drug boat were 1,000 miles away from the United States, can you really say that it posed an imminent threat to the United States? Were there really 11 individuals in that boat, which Admiral Stavridis, who from a command position has overseen hundreds of drug interdictions like this, said would be highly unusual? And then Admiral Stavridis raised another question, which was, did the military give the opportunity to whomever was on that boat to surrender? And it appears that they did not. Well, there are a whole host of legal questions that are raised in this incident. And lo and behold, page 1 above the fold of the print edition of today's New York Times, written by Charlie Savage, is a great summary of many of them. By ordering the U.S. military to summarily kill a group of people aboard what he said was a drug smuggling boat, President Trump used the military in a way that has no clear legal precedent or basis, according to specialists in the laws of war and executive power. Trump is claiming the power to shift maritime counter-drug efforts from law enforcement rules to wartime rules. The police arrest criminal suspects for prosecution and cannot instead simply gun suspects down, except in rare circumstances where they pose an imminent threat to someone. Again, coming back to the imminent threat language, which is so key. By contrast, in armed conflicts, troops can lawfully kill enemy combatants on sight. Because killing people is so extreme and doing it without due process risks killing the wrong people by mistake, the question of which rules apply is not simply a matter of policy choice. Domestic and international law both set standards constraining what presidents and nations can lawfully do and wartime force. And then this paragraph that I circled. After breaking new ground by labeling drug cartels as terrorists, the president is now redefining the peacetime criminal drug problem of drug trafficking as an armed conflict and telling the U.S. military to treat even suspected low-level drug smugglers as combatants. But the problem, among other things, as pointed out by callers yesterday, is that drug dealing is not a capital offense in this country. So it really, I know that the reaction initially, well, I shouldn't say I know. I don't know how you all feel on this. I'll tell you how I feel on it, and that is to initially see the footage and to be told that this was a drug, this was a boat just saddled with drugs and some hardened druggies on it, seeking to bring bad things into the. I'm like, f them, right? Okay, fine. And then hold it, Michael. Wait a minute. What happened to the lawyer in you? Wherein lies the due process? Wherein lies the evidence? Am I supposed to just take the administration's word for the fact that they know who was on the boat and they know what they were carrying, so please don't worry about it? It's not enough. It's not enough on this president's watch. It's not enough on any president's watch. Secretary of Defense, by the way, will I soon be saying Secretary of War? Because the rebranding from the Department of Defense to the Department of War, that's another story today. That's already underway. That's my lead story at Smerconish.com. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth claimed sweeping powers for the Trump administration on Thursday, stating that the government has the absolute authority to kill suspected drug traffickers in international waters. Here's his justification. The strike occurred while the terrorists, see, now they're calling them terrorists, right? You note the change? While the terrorists were at sea in international waters, transporting illegal narcotics heading to the United States, the strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. Like they've now cast this as putting someone like me who's questioning it in a box, like, oh, you don't want to kill terrorists? Of course I want terrorists killed. The claim has not been independently confirmed. Under U.S. law, drug trafficking is not punishable by death. That's the problem. Fox News tweeted a video of Hegseth taking a question from a reporter. Mr. Secretary, what legal authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike the boat full of drug smugglers? Quote, we have the absolute authority and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow. It's an assault on the American people. That may be true, but that doesn't give you grounds without a declaration of war against Venezuela or whomever might be supplying these people in international waters to just drop the bomb and kill 11 without due process and then turn around and say, don't worry, we know who they were and everything is fine.